Welcome to Magic Fairy Tales. King Jahangir ruled over a beautiful and prosperous kingdom. His wife, Queen Aarin, was as radiant as the moon. When she spoke, it felt as if flowers bloomed from her lips. But the only sorrow in their life was that they had no children. One evening while they were having dinner, the king sighed and said, "It has been 5 years since our marriage, yet we have no child. Perhaps a second marriage is the only way to bring an heir to such a vast kingdom." His words struck Queen Aarin like lightning. Heartbroken, she went out into the garden and, with tears flowing, prayed to the sky. As her tears glistened in the moonlight, the dark clouds parted. Magical blue and pink light descended to the earth. Butterflies filled the air, and from a glowing circle appeared two beautiful fairies. They approached the queen and said, "We are the answer to your prayers." Each fairy placed a small seed in her hands. "Plant these in the soil of love and water them with desire," they instructed. "A blue flower will give you a son, and a pink flower will bless you with a daughter." Saying this, they dissolved into the moonlight. Filled with hope, the queen planted the seeds in 2 golden pots on her balcony and stayed awake watching them under the moonlight. By morning, tiny sprouts emerged. The next day, buds appeared. On the 3rd morning, the balcony glowed with a brilliant blue flower and a radiant pink one. The fragrance filled the entire room. But when the queen called Babaji to prepare the essence, she discovered to her shock that the pink flower had been stolen. Saddened but helpless, she drank the essence of the blue flower. Months later, she gave birth to a prince as beautiful as the moon. Celebrations shook the palace. Fireworks lit the sky, and music echoed through the halls. But hidden beneath all the joy was a dark secret. The palace cook was actually a magician. One day, while Queen Aarin was bathing the young prince in the palace pool, she got distracted by some flowers nearby. Seizing the moment, the cook kidnapped the prince and disappeared. When the queen returned and realized her son was missing, she cried in despair and ran to tell the king. In fury, the king blamed her for negligence and ordered that she be locked in a tall, lonely tower. Every night she gazed at the moon, praying that her son would be safe and happy wherever he was. Years passed. The blue and pink fairies visited her occasionally with food and comfort, telling her, "Be patient, the time is near." Meanwhile, the stolen prince named Neel grew up in a simple, peaceful house made of wood and stone. The cook raised him, and with them lived Gulabi, a girl whose smile could light up the world. Neel chopped wood and carried water. Gulabi cooked, cleaned, and played with birds and rabbits. In the evenings, she told stories while Neel played the guitar. Their lives were simple, but filled with warmth. One day, the cook said, "My Prince Neel, you are grown and handsome now. Choose a girl to marry. My daughter Gulabi will make a perfect wife for you." But in truth, Gulabi was born from the stolen pink flower bobber. G had secretly made the essence and given it to his wife. Gulabi was magical, gentle, and as lovely as the dawn. Neel often looked at her and said, "When you laugh, it feels like the sky has come down to earth." One night, Gulabi took milk to the cook's room and overheard him gloating in front of a mirror. "Now, both magical flower children are mine. The queen is imprisoned, and when I place Sick Neel on the throne, I will rule the kingdom." Shocked, Gulabi dropped the glass. The cook grabbed her and held a dagger to her throat. Gulabi trembled, but managed to say, "No one will believe you. Neel is the lost prince." The cook laughed. Every royal child receives a secret mark on their waist so they can never be kidnapped. "But I removed it." Just then, Neel stormed in, furious. He shouted, "May God turn you into a dog." Instantly, the cook transformed into a dog, barking but unable to make a sound. Neel hugged Gulabi and said, "Now it's time to find my parents." Gulabi, with tears in her eyes, pleaded, "Don't leave me." Neel smiled softly, "Turn into a rose. I will keep you close to my heart." In an instant, Gulabi transformed into a red rose, and Neel placed her carefully in his pocket. Riding a white horse, Neel magically created a long, golden staircase leading to the top of the tall tower where Queen Aarin was imprisoned. "Mother, I am your son Neel," he called out. Overwhelmed, the queen embraced him with tears of joy. Neel told her everything and added, I turned the cook into a dog and threw him into the sea. Neel then went to the royal court and declared, I am the true heir to the throne. The ministers examined him, saw signs of truth, and accepted him as the prince. Queen Aarin was released with honor, and the king apologized deeply for his mistake. She forgave him with a gentle heart. Neel then brought Gulabi forward and transformed her back into a human. Blushing, she said, I am the same pink flower that disappeared long ago. The queen smiled lovingly. You are the second part of my prayer, Neel said. I came from the blue flower, and she came from the pink. We are two colors of the same prayer. Flowers rained from the sky. Blue and pink light shimmered through the palace pillars. Fairies descended to bless the union. Neel played the guitar while Gulabi danced gracefully. Joy filled the kingdom. The king raised his hands in gratitude, thanking God for sending two angels into their world. Moonlight bathed the palace in silver glow, and the fragrance of blue and pink flowers drifted through the garden. Thus, the magical love of Neel and Gulabi became a timeless tale, told from generation to generation to generation.